Hi, and welcome back. Code style, the way that we arrange our code and the choices we make for certain aspects of its presentation, can have a big impact on how easy our programs are to read and understand. Good code style will be even more helpful as we create complex programs. One important aspect of style is knowing how to group your code together to make it easier to work with. But if we're going to keep using pieces of processing code to do the same thing, we want it to be easy to tell processing what we want to do. And this is where special instructions in processing called functions come in. Functions are a way that we can get processing to execute a set of commands without having to keep typing them into the editor. We've already used a large number of processing functions. If you think about drawing things, a line is just a collection of dots and a rectangle is just a collection of lines. Rather than have to do this manually, we use the processing functions line and rect to create these shapes for us. Other functions such as fill and stroke control what these shapes look like, but these are also just sets of lines of code that have been defined for us. We just get to call them with the defined function name, and processing does all of the hard work. In this section, we are going to look further into functions, what they are and how we can make our own. Functions help us write modular code that is much easier to test and to change. Modular code is code that is broken up into separate pieces, with each piece doing part of the job of the whole program. To achieve good modularity, we have to learn about functions and decomposition. Do you remember the term decomposition? You've already used it in this course back in section 4. We use decomposition to break up our complex problem of displaying a bar graph into smaller parts. This is the process of decomposition, breaking a complex problem into smaller, easier to understand problems. If we can decompose a problem to small parts that we're going to use a lot, we can consider turning some or all of these components into functions. Then we can use the name of the function to tell processing to go and execute that fragment of code. Remember that decomposition is similar to how Lego figurines work. Each figure is made of smaller parts, and if you decompose a figurine, it would involve taking it apart such that you have individual parts, a body, legs, arms, and a head. We use functions in our programs because it can dramatically reduce the amount of code we have to write, because once we've written it, we can use the name anywhere else in our program to execute those lines of code, then go back to where we were. If we use functions well, we can easily pinpoint the location of bugs in our code and fix them. This is because we can incrementally test each function as we add it to our program, and then we know each function does what we expect it to do. The rest of this section will explore how we create functions in processing, which techniques we can use to decompose complex problems, and how we can apply what we have learned to provide solutions to practical data science problems. I'll see you soon.